Most men walk through life like open books, spilling their guts, revealing every ambition, every weakness. They wonder why they get played, why their respect evaporates, why women lose interest. It's not bad luck, gentlemen. It's a fundamental failure in the mental game, a critical lack of masculine strategy. Machiavelli himself understood this brutal truth. Knowledge is power, but unspoken knowledge is ultimate power. You're about to learn why revealing certain truths, even to those closest to you, is an act of self-sabotage, a strategic blunder that leaves you vulnerable to manipulation. This isn't about being deceitful. It's about mastering emotional control, maintaining your aura and safeguarding your power. If you want to stop being a pawn in someone else's emotional chess game, if you want to be the high-value man who commands respect, then pay close attention. Because what I'm about to reveal are the 6 critical secrets that, if you blurt them out, will destroy your leverage, your relationships, and ultimately, your very standing as a man. Most men, in their naivete, believe that sharing their grand ambitions will somehow garner support, create accountability, or earn them early admiration. They couldn't be more wrong. This is the gravest error in the mental game, a rookie mistake in the brutal arena of human interaction. When you prematurely announce your intentions, you're not inviting allies, you're inviting the very forces designed to cripple you: envy, criticism, and outright sabotage. Think of it as a declaration of war before you've even gathered your troops. You expose your most vulnerable flank to those who, consciously or unconsciously, will seek to undermine you. This isn't just psychological warfare, it's a self-inflicted wound. Every doubt they voice, every sneer, every piece of advice designed to hold you back, chips away at your resolve, diverting your precious energy from execution into defending your vision. This is where your power begins to bleed out. A high-value man understands that true power lies in silent execution. Machiavelli, the ultimate strategist, knew that the less others know about your true objectives, the harder it is for them to counter your moves. When you operate in the shadows, unburdened by external expectations or criticisms, you maintain an impenetrable aura. This isn't about deception. It's about mastering emotional control, focusing your masculine strategy, and protecting your energetic output. You gather your resources, refine your approach, and move with surgical precision, revealing your hand only when success is undeniable. Only then do your achievements speak for themselves, leaving no room for debate, envy, or manipulation. This approach commands respect because it demonstrates an unwavering discipline and a profound level of self-mastery that few possess. The man who constantly talks about what he will do is seen as weak, lacking the conviction to simply do. It seeks validation before the battle is won, making himself vulnerable to every form of counterattack. In contrast, the high-value man doesn't need external applause for his ambitions. His validation comes from within, from the quiet, relentless pursuit of his goals. This silence cultivates an aura of competence, a mysterious force that others can't quite pinpoint but are drawn to. It shields you from manipulation because no one can target what they don't know exists. This isn't merely about avoiding sabotage. It's about preserving your unique competitive advantage, your edge in the marketplace of life. Your vision is a seed. You don't dig it up every day to show people how it's growing. You water it in secret, nurture it, until it bursts forth as a mighty oak, undeniable and towering. This is the essence of true strength. The ability to hold your tongue, to guard your inner sanctum, is the mark of a superior masculine strategy and a powerful defense against manipulation. It's about leveraging the unseen, mastering the mental game that plays out not in words, but in deeds. Cultivating the kind of respect that isn't given lightly, but earned through unwavering self-possession and the silent pursuit of significant power. But there are other critical truths you must guard, secrets that, if revealed, will utterly destroy your leverage. These are your fears, your deepest insecurities, the ghosts of past failures, or even the lingering wounds of betrayal. To expose these vulnerabilities is to hand your adversaries a roadmap to your emotional core, a blueprint for your destruction. Every man carries a burden, a shadow side he battles in silence. The mistake is believing that sharing this burden indiscriminately will earn you sympathy or strength. Instead, it invites a specific kind of predator, the manipulator. A master of psychological warfare understands that the surest way to conquer a man is not through physical force, but by seizing control of his internal landscape. They learn your triggers, the tender spots that, when pressed, can evoke a predictable, emotional response. This knowledge is pure power. If they know you fear loneliness, they can threaten to withdraw, coercing your compliance. If they discern your deepest insecurity, they will subtly undermine your confidence, eroding your self-worth and your ability to stand firm. This is the essence of Machiavelli's insight into human nature. Understanding weakness is key to wielding influence. He knew men are often driven by fear, and to reveal your own fears is to invite exploitation. This isn't about being inauthentic, it's about strategic emotional control. The high-value man recognizes that the world is not a safe space for unbridled emotional display. He practices a masculine strategy of internal fortitude, building an inner sanctuary that is impenetrable to external assault. He He understands that the mental game is always active, a silent battle for dominance and leverage. When you parade your vulnerabilities, you invite manipulation because you give others the precise tools to disarm you, to strip you of your power. It's a direct assault on the respect you have meticulously built. Your hidden wounds, once revealed, become the very chains that bind you. Imagine giving your enemy the schematics to your fortress. This is precisely what happens when you lay bare your personal weaknesses. They become targets, points of entry for those who seek to control you, to bend your will. The true display of power and the cultivation of enduring respect come not from showcasing your fragility, but from demonstrating your unwavering resilience and your mastery over your internal demons. A man who controls his fears cannot be controlled by others. He understands that while compassion might exist, strategic advantage dictates absolute emotional discipline. The battle for your autonomy is waged first and foremost within yourself, through the ironclad defense of your most sensitive data points. But there's another insidious leak that drains your influence, a habit that immediately labels you as an amateur in the game of power. This insidious leak, the one that screams amateur louder than any other, is the premature announcement of your triumphs, your strategic victories before they are cemented in reality. You believe you're celebrating, but in truth you're opening a gaping wound in your strategic armor. When you declare your success before it's fully realized, before the ink is dry on the contract, before the project is undeniably complete, you do two things simultaneously. You invite envy, and you invite immense pressure. It's a rookie mistake. In the mental game, envy, my friend, is a silent assassin. It doesn't always show its face as overt sabotage. Sometimes it manifests as a subtle shift in energy, a subconscious undermining of your efforts by those who now resent your impending glory. You give them a target, a reason to hope for your downfall, or worse, to actively work towards it. A true student of Machiavelli understands that power is not just about what you achieve, but how you present it, and the timing of your revelations is paramount. Machiavelli would scorn the leader who brags of triumphs not yet solidified, for it betrays a lack of strategic acumen and an alarming deficit of emotional control. The high-value man knows that the loudest declarations are often made by the weakest players, those desperate for external validation, revealing their insecurity. He practices a masculine strategy of quiet execution. His strength lies in his silence, his ability to operate in the shadows, revealing his hand only when the game is won, when the advantage is irreversible. Boasting prematurely is a profound act of self-sabotage. It heaps upon you the unbearable burden of public expectation. What was once a personal aspiration becomes a public spectacle, and every potential setback is magnified under the judgmental gaze of those you've alerted. This pressure can warp your judgment, force you into desperate plays, and ultimately lead to failure. It's a form of self-manipulation, pushing yourself into a corner with no escape. Your quest for instant respect through premature declaration that actually erodes it. People respect results, not promises. They respect the man who delivers, not the one who announces he will deliver. The man who maintains his emotional control, who resists the urge to seek applause, is the one who truly understands the mental game. He knows that true power lies in the quiet accumulation of victories, the patient orchestration of events, and the element of surprise. When you tell the world your plans, you give them the opportunity to disrupt them, to counter them, to manipulate the very circumstances you're trying to control. Your silence is your shield, your greatest weapon in this psychological warfare. But while guarding your triumphs is crucial, there's another insidious trap that compromises your influence, an often overlooked drain on your energy that can be just as damaging as premature boasting. This is the relentless public display of your intimate relationships. You parade your partner, your affection, your private moments across social arenas, seeking validation, applause, or perhaps simply to project an image. What you believe is an act of love or connection is, in reality, a profound strategic misstep. You are inviting 1,000 eyes into your most sacred space, subjecting the delicate intricacies of your bond to the harsh glare of public scrutiny. This isn't strength, it's vulnerability, a self-inflicted wound in the ongoing psychological warfare of life. Every relationship, particularly an intimate one, operates on its own unique frequency. It thrives in privacy, cultivates depth away from the noise, and builds its resilience in the quiet, shared moments that no outsider can truly comprehend. When you expose it, you don't just share, you dilute. You invite judgment from those who will never understand, envy from those who desire what you have, and opportunities for manipulation from those who seek to destabilize you. Think of it. As a fortress, you wouldn't leave its gates wide open for all to inspect its weaknesses, would you? Yet, many do precisely that with their most precious personal connections. A high-value man understands that true power in a relationship is not derived from public fanfare but from internal cohesion and a deep, unshakable private bond. He exercises extreme emotional control, not allowing the urge for external validation to dictate how he manages his most personal affairs. He knows that the mental game extends beyond business and ambition into his private life. Machiavelli himself, while focusing on princely power, understood the profound advantage of operating with discretion, of revealing only what serves your strategic interest. Exposing your intimate world serves no strategic interest. It gives your enemies, and even your supposed friends, leverage. They now have an access point, a perceived weakness they can exploit. They can whisper doubts, plant seeds of discord, or simply project their own insecurities onto your relationship, subtly eroding its foundation. This constant external pressure creates cracks, forcing the relationship to expend energy defending itself against imaginary threats or navigating unnecessary public expectations rather than growing organically from within. The paradoxical truth is that the more you expose your relationship, the less respect you garner. It signals a lack of self-sufficiency, a desperate need for external validation. People don't respect a man who outsources his emotional stability to public opinion. They respect the man who is self-contained, whose happiness and fulfillment are internally generated, whose private life is just that, private. This isn't about secrecy, it's about sanctity. It's about understanding that a truly robust masculine strategy protects its core assets, and your intimate relationships are among the most valuable. They are the wellspring of your personal strength, not a commodity to be paraded or a pawn in a social chess match. Guarding them fiercely allows them to flourish authentically, free from the corrupting influence of external gaze. It preserves the energy that would otherwise be wasted on managing public perception. But beyond the sacredness of your relationships, there's another arena where men frequently squander their valuable resources, mistaking busyness for progress, and it's far more pervasive than you might realize. This is about your personal projects, your grand career aspirations, your entrepreneurial ventures, or even your deep-seated plans for self. The moment you articulate these nascent visions to the world, before they have a chance to solidify, you expose them to an immediate, invisible assault. You're essentially declaring your strategic movements in a silent war, revealing your hand in the ultimate mental game. A lack of emotional control often fuels this urge to broadcast. It's the dopamine hit of external validation, a subconscious plea for applause before the curtain even rises. But a high-value man understands that this isn't validation. It's vulnerability. It's a critical leakage of power. Think of it. When you verbalize a grand plan, you're not inviting support. You're inviting scrutiny, doubt, and often unconscious competition. The moment you share your brilliant business idea, a seed of rivalry is planted in the minds of those who hear it. They might consciously or unconsciously begin to strategize against you, or even worse, subtly attempt to steal your thunder or undermine your resolve. This isn't about paranoia. It's about a pragmatic understanding of human nature, a lesson Machiavelli would nod approvingly at. He understood that true strength often lies in the shadows, in the strategic silence that keeps your adversaries guessing and your intentions opaque. Moreover, the act of talking about your ambition often siphons off the very energy required to execute it. The satisfaction of having told someone can trick your mind into believing the work is already partially done, dissipating the intense focus and drive necessary for actual creation. This is a common form of self-sabotage, masquerading as social engagement. Your internal reservoir of motivation, finite and precious, gets depleted not by action, but by words. The premature release of your plans invites not just external pressure, but internal complacency. Those who genuinely respect your journey will measure you by your results, not by your rhetoric. The profound truth is that a powerful masculine strategy dictates that you move in silence. You cultivate your projects in the dark, nurturing them away from the corrupting influence of external opinions and cynical whispers. Your success becomes an undeniable fact, not a subject for public debate. This isn't about manipulation of others. It's about preventing their manipulation of your reality, of your trajectory. It's about maintaining absolute control over your narrative and your destiny. You avoid giving others the opportunity to inject their fears into your vision, or to preemptively compete with a concept that hasn't even left your drawing board. The man who announces his intentions loudly often finds himself battling 100 invisible skirmishes before the real war even begins. The true display of power comes from presenting a fait accompli, not a wish list, but beyond the strategic imperative of silence. There's another crucial element that many men overlook, a cornerstone of genuine strength that underpins all successful endeavors. This crucial element is the strategic, disciplined revelation of your deepest principles and values. Most men, driven by a misguided sense of honesty or a desperate need for connection, blurt out their core convictions. They confuse transparency with strategic vulnerability, thinking that laying bare their entire moral framework will foster trust or build genuine bonds. This is a profound tactical blunder. Your core principles, your non-negotiables, are the very pillars of your identity, the internal compass that guides your every move. To expose them haphazardly is to hand an opponent a detailed map to your weaknesses, a precise blueprint for their manipulation. Think of every significant interaction as a subtle mental game, a negotiation, a test of wills and boundaries. When you lay bare your complete ethical framework for public consumption, you invite others to test its boundaries, to probe its limits, and to find its breaking points. They learn what you absolutely will and won't do, giving them potent leverage. They can then craft their requests, their demands, or their attacks specifically to exploit your stated values, using your own standards to box you in, to shame you, or to guilt-trip you into compliance. This is psychological warfare at its most insidious, turning your very integrity into a weapon against you. Machiavelli understood this profound truth centuries ago. A ruler needn't be virtuous in every aspect, but he must appear so when it serves his objective. And crucially, he must strategically reveal or conceal aspects of his true character, his true principles, based solely on the exigencies of acquiring and maintaining power. Your values, in this context, are not just personal beliefs. They are part of your power projection. You do not broadcast your entire moral code. Rather, you reveal fragments strategically, those that reinforce the image of the unshakable high-value man you are building, the man who commands respect. This isn't about hypocrisy. It's about strategic self-preservation and the unwavering maintenance of power. It's about demonstrating impeccable emotional control, the absolute mastery of your own reactions, your own impulses to share, and your own revelations. A high-value man understands that true respect is not earned by proclaiming his moral superiority from the rooftops, but by demonstrating unwavering, quiet adherence to his unspoken code when it truly matters, and by remaining impervious to the petty attempts at manipulation from those who seek to undermine him. He does not require external validation for his principles. They are an internal, unyielding compass. When you fail to employ a sophisticated masculine strategy in the revelation of your deep convictions, you don't just invite judgment, you invite an open season on your integrity. People will incessantly test your adherence, question your motives, and relentlessly try to bend you to their will by appealing to the very values you've foolishly exposed. The disciplined man understands that his values are his fortress, not his front porch. They are to be protected, to be lived by implicitly, but not to be advertised for casual public scrutiny. Only those who have truly earned your trust, who have proven their unwavering alignment with your vision and trajectory, might be granted a glimpse into the full, complex architecture of your inner convictions. And even then, that revelation is a carefully managed process, an integral part of a larger mental game designed to build authentic, strategic alliances, never to invite a tactical assault. This strategic withholding, this quiet strength, profoundly enhances your power. It makes your actions, when they align with these unstated, deeply held principles, far more impactful, far more resonant. It makes your integrity undeniable, rather than a subject for endless public debate. This leads us to the critical distinction between merely projecting an image of integrity and embodying it through actions, a distinction that truly defines the high-value man. This isn't merely about projecting an image, it's about embodying the principles that define a high-value man. How often do you truly operate with unyielding emotional control? Or have you been subtly caught in someone else's mental game? A form of manipulation even Machiavelli would appreciate. Tell me in the comments, when did you last realize you weren't fully in command? If you're serious about mastering these critical elements of masculine strategy and building unshakable respect and power, subscribe and hit that bell. Then will you uncover the profound strategies most men never discover for your next move toward true integrity. Watch this video. Stay sharp. Until next time.